Heidi version 2. So this video will be a long tutorial and we'll have lots of chapters that will explain different things about what you can do with the new Heidi. So don't be scared, it's the same product. We've just made an entirely new code base and basically built it from the ground up to be fast, seamless, more stable, handle all of the edge cases that you've all been telling us a lot about. And we hope that you find it just much better than it was before. So I'm just going to move my face over here and create a new session. So same as always, you can transcribe in lots of different languages. You got your microphone and upload and start recording. Something new here is that you can dictate. So rather than having to record a session, create your note, write it out, then click dictation, you can now dictate an entire session using this mode. Now, this isn't meant to be like a 50-minute session where you're recording your whole visit. That's Transcribe. Dictation is meant to be for scenarios where you want to dictate something specific, like a letter, an operative note, a report, anything where you're sitting down and you're just telling Heidi what you want to write. So let me jump in and show you how that works. I'm going to dictate a letter about a hypothetical patient called Jesse, our US lead. Hi, Dr. Chimes, new line. I'd like to refer a patient, Jesse Crichton, to you, full stop. New line. He presented to me today with left ankle pain over 3 months, full stop. He had an injury playing basketball where he had an eversion event stepping on a player's foot, and since then has not been able to weight bear normally on the left foot, full stop. He has not been wearing any brace. He did not do RICE. He has been walking around the foot, kind of limping around over the last 3 months and a bit stoic. So finally brought the courage up to come see me today, full stop. New line. He doesn't have any significant past medical history, not on any medicines, kind of rarely seen by the doctor. He has had many previous injuries to the same ankle playing basketball, lots of rolled ankles as he describes it, but no fractures and no other investigation on the foot before. Full stop, new line. On examination today, he has red swelling and tenderness on the left lateral epicondyle of his tibia and has associated joint laxity basically in all different motions on the foot. He has limited extension, limited flexion, and is unable to weight bear on one leg on the left-hand side without significant pain or without support. Full stop. New line. I'm concerned that he could have a malunion fracture of his left epicondyle. It's obviously been 3 months, so I'm concerned that there's a subacute / chronic issue there that hasn't healed, full stop. I am sending him for a CT scan and ultrasound of his ankle to have a look at the ligaments and also the bony structure of the ankle, and we'll make a plan from there about what to do next. Full stop. I've put him in a cam boot for today, and we'll see him in a few days' time once he's done these investigations, full stop. New line. Kind regards, Dr. Thomas Kelly. My brain just went to sleep then. So Heidi will now go ahead and write out that letter for us. And again, this is like a smart dictation, so it's not just like word for word what is said. It should be as close to verbatim as possible. But you can see, I'd like to refer a patient to his business to me today, etc., etc. And let's just say, so this is pretty useful, but let's just say I actually want to use this dictation in a template. So templates now, rather than living on the right-hand side, they actually live inside this area here. So you can click this button, or you can click here to create additional documents. So to create an additional document, you can, as always, create different templates, and you can edit them from within here. Or you can just write here what you want. And you can see we've got some suggestions here already. Generate a CT scan report, write a follow-up consultation note, create a treatment plan based on CT. So let's say I want to generate a CT scan report. I just click this, and Heidi's going to go ahead and generate this for me. and you can see it's kind of written that out in like a nice clinical note format for me. Or maybe I want to create a template that has sections of my referral letter that I always include, like maybe my address, my name, and other things. So I'm going to actually just generate a new template here and ask Heidi, create a letter to orthopedics, including address and phone number. And now Heidi's going to go away using our template rules and create a template structure for you. Now, it obviously take kind of a few seconds, and I'm going to call this Tom's Ortho Referral Letter. And I'm going to say my name, so Dr. Thomas Kelly. I'm going to do my address, Heidi office, and it's 5/24 Cubitt Street in Melbourne, Victoria, 3122 in Australia. And my phone number is 141235678. And I'll put here a placeholder to include today's date. And I'm going to include this, dear orthopedic surgeon. Yep, I'm going to put here if available. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create the sections. So I'm going to say, okay, I want a sentence on the subjective sentences. I'm going to put, maybe I like this sentence. Yep. Because I want it written in a particular way. I'm writing to refer. Yep. Yep, it's pretty good. Yep. All right. Thanks for your attention to this matter. Sincerely. And then I'm going to include here Dr. Thomas Kelly because I've already put the address at the top. And now you can see I've got a template here. So there's two options. So you can just save it if you want to save it in the list. I'm going to save this as a document. Notes can be applied to the first thing that you generate when you click stop. So that's your note, or a document which can be applied in the create document button. So I'm actually going to save this as a note because sometimes I want to output my recording directly into this. And I'm going to click save and use because I want to use it straight away. And now what's going to happen, Heidi's going to go ahead and stream out this. So you can see now it's included this section. It's included today's date. It's got all the relevant sections. Thanks for your attention to this matter. And it's simplified the note based on the sections that we've included. So you can imagine you can create operative note templates where for different operations you commonly do, and then you can come here, dictate your op note, and then just apply a template. So it'll fill in the bits that it hears from you, but then it'll let you basically apply any template to that dictation that you like. Let's say, looking at this, I don't really like it. So I'm going to ask Heidi, can you fill in a lot more detail into this letter, preserving the structure, but just include more details. So this is the new Ask Heidi. So rather than it creating a new document every time, it sits at the bottom of a document and lets you make edits in reference to a specific document. So before you could only ask Heidi to do specific things from the transcript, but now I'm looking at this letter and I'm wanting to add more detail. So I'm going to click enter, and it's going to go ahead and think for a bit as it writes out and basically follows my instruction. Don't worry about this weird formatting. We're working on that. So I'm just going to click replace note, and now it's gone ahead, but it's done it in this kind of note format, which is not really what I like. So can you rewrite this, but make it narrative like a letter, not a clinical note. And it's going to go ahead and write it again for me. And this time I'm going to add it to a new tab. And so you can see now I've got a more detailed note. I still have to review all the details as always, but it's a bit better than maybe the note that I started off with. It's got my address, which I want in there every time. It's got all the information that I need, and it's still got the way it was written before. Thanks for your attention, and I'm writing to refer, but it's added more details. So this is really powerful. You can basically ask for anything here. So you can also ask for a prior authorization, let's say. So can you give me a prior auth justification for the investigations I want to order? And Heidi's going to go off and create that for us. Yep, and I'm just going to add this to a new tab. Yep, all right, and maybe I just hate this weird formatting. Can you remove the asterisks, please? Yeah, and I'm going to replace the note, and perfect. Now it's removed the asterisks for me. And of course, you can still achieve these things with a template, but maybe I actually quite like this. So it's got the history, the examination findings, the rationale of why I want these investigations done, and maybe I want to add ICD-10 codes. Add ICD-10 codes for the possible diagnoses in its own section. And Heidi's going to go ahead and do that for us. So it's really like that kind of chat with AI experience. And now I'm going to replace the note, and now you can see it's got its own section for the pain, the other specific joint arrangements, and sprain of the left ankle. Maybe I want something specific. Add or give me for a left lat epicondyle fracture ankle with and without null union. And you can always do IC9, IC11, SNOMED, whatever you want. And I'm just going to click add to note. So now I've got these additional ones here, and I'm going to copy this in as well. And so you can, as always, use this with any kind of coding system you like. You just pop them in. And I'm going to pop this here and put possible diagnoses. And maybe get rid of this section. All right, and now maybe I quite like this as a prior authorization justification. So now we've hidden a lot of the information that we used to put in this button here. So you can copy, you can send this as an email. So I can send this off to myself. Oh wait, doesn't let me send to myself. I can regenerate this output, or I can save it as a new template. So I'm going to convert this to a template. The same as last time, we remove all of the PHI and create a template so I can use this every time, not just having to ask Heidi to create different things. And it'll take a bit of time to convert this into that. So it's all of the same features. We just think it's a more kind of seamless experience. And you'll notice that it's a lot snappier. The loading time is faster between different sessions, and just generally the behavior makes a lot more sense. Let's just wait while that loads. All right, excellent. So we've got that now. So I'm going to call this my prior auth template. And yeah, it's going to save it as a document. And now you can see it's got all of this information. Yeah. And maybe, yeah, so I'm just going to call this description, duration, maybe review of systems, whose injuries. Great. All right, and I'm going to get rid of this heading and click save. And now, anytime I click that, it's now at the top of my list, prior auth template. And I can always come here and edit, but also delete if I want. So let's create a new session, more of our typical transcribe session, just to show you what's changed. So I'm going to just quickly do a quick back and forth between me and myself, a hypothetical patient. So, hi Tom, what brings you in today? I've had a cough for the last few days. Okay, tell me more about it. Just dry, sore throat. I've been traveling a lot. I've been in the US and the UK, visiting all our users of Heidi at Tool. Okay, and have you had any sneezing or any other like kind of symptoms of like a cold? Yeah, I have been feeling a bit tired and a bit sneezy. All right, and has anyone around you been unwell? Well, now that you mention it, a few people that I've been working with did mention they might have got COVID, but I haven't tested myself, so I'm not really sure. Okay. And any past medical history? No, nothing really. Like sometimes, occasionally, I have Symbicort for my asthma, but I get it kind of infrequently, so I don't have it every day. Otherwise, nothing I really manage regularly. All right. Well, looking at you, don't seem to be breathing too hard. Your observations that I've tested are all normal. Your respiratory effort's fine. You don't have any wheezes or any exacerbation of your asthma. So I do wonder if maybe you do have acute like viral illness of some kind, maybe COVID, maybe flu. Generally, I wouldn't explicitly test anymore, just because most of the COVID variants now aren't as severe, but also um, the community is kind of vaccinated and it's not really required to test to go into work unless you work in any sensitive areas. Do you work in like a hospital, ICU, or anything like that? No. I now work at a tech company. All right. So what I'd suggest is just general rest, hydration, over-the-counter medicines like Codral and other things can help if you do have to go to work. And if you're feeling worse or your sputum's getting really nasty, your cough's really sore, and you think you're getting a secondary bacterial infection, which can sometimes happen, schedule in with me again. But otherwise, I'd expect you to get better in a few days, and you probably don't really need antibiotics. All right, then, no worries. Thank you. All right, so this is the big change. When you click stop, we won't automatically generate a note. And this is for a couple of reasons. So we had lots of requests that people didn't always want to create something straight away. Sometimes they wanted to be able to go back and resume before generating something. But now you can do that. So you can click stop, close the modal, and now you're in Heidi. But if you do want to generate something, you just have to pick a template and you can save something as default. So if you do want Heidi to just immediately generate, I'm going to click save as default and I'm going to use my SOAP issues list and I'm going to click it. And now Heidi's going to generate. So same product, nothing crazy has changed. It's just that additional click. You've still got all your voices, still got all the same behavior as always, but it's just a little bit more flexible. So now I don't have to generate immediately, and it lets you pick from different notes before generating. So now you can pick, like if you have a specific kind of visit and different templates for different visits, like let's say I want my referral letter applied or something else, you can select it as default. And yeah, now that I've picked my SOAP issues as default, if I create a new session and record and then I click stop, Heidi will immediately generate out into that note. So it's applying that SOAP issue straight away. I'm just going to delete that one. And now, same as always, I can create next documents. So I can write a sick certificate. Yeah. Or I can ask Heidi to write anything. So create a specific clinical note with a COVID section on vaccine and contacts, etc. And what all you have to do is click this button or click Control Enter or Command Enter on Mac, and Heidi's going to go away and actually generate a note using my instructions. So you can see it's now done a clinical note, but it's also added this COVID section for me. And you can see work environment, recent contacts, etc. So we think this is really useful because if you've got a note, but it's not quite what you want, and you don't want to have to sit there creating a template while you're live consulting, you can just ask Heidi for what you want. Like I need a work certificate or I need something else, and click enter, and it'll go ahead and generate. A few other things. So in your account, you can see your billing, you can set up your information. I've got Dictation set up because that was what I was last demoing as. You can pick your default note template here as well. You can schedule the deletion of your consults. So if you want your consults to automatically be deleted after a day, 7 days, 90 days, or just never, you can choose here. You can decide if you want patient consent. So if you want patient consent, when you start a new session, you'll have a little consent modal here that will remind you to record consent before each session. You can also turn off the modal. So we had a lot of people who didn't want the modal appearing when they click start. So now when I click start, it'll just immediately show me additions. I can copy in relevant details, and then I just start recording from here. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. And you can still delete all sessions from settings, and both search but also delete individual sessions, as always, from here just by clicking delete. And that's Heidi V2 in a nutshell. The other thing that's changed is that mobile now supports all of these different things. So you can do Ask Heidi, you can apply templates, you can basically do everything you do on desktop or mobile. We've also handed offline recording, like clicking stop when you don't have internet. If your device sleeps or locks, we should do a better job on mobile of keeping your session. And you can also access our help center and our roadmap from here and request features and comment on other features that we're working on to stay up to date with what we're doing at Heidi. So I know that was a bit of a whirlwind tour, but hope that gives you a sense of how Heidi works. It's still the same product. Nothing crazy has changed. It's just a little better in lots of little details. And this will help us speed up quite a lot going forward.